Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody who is checking in. We are going live we're live in two places. We're live on TikTok for now. For whatever reason, TikTok keeps restricting my lives whenever I'm going live. I don't know why they're doing that, but they keep doing it. And actually, no, I don't know why they're doing it. So last live, I wasn't even talking about anything. I wasn't even talking about any type of topic that could be looked at as controversial. But my previous live, I was talking about DEI and stuff, and they restricted my content when I was talking about that. And then I was talking about, I can't remember what it was, what I was talking about the other day, and they restricted my content for no reason. So for now, we are still live on TikTok and we are live on Instagram. Good morning, Instagram, as y'all coming in. Shout yourselves out. The topic here today, we're going to talk about how if you do not have an opinion, then that is going to strongly, in a negative way, affect the value of your personal brand. That's what we're going to talk about here today. I'm going to tell you why that is. I'm going to tell you how that is, and I'm going to tell you what you need to do about it. If you so choose to do something about it. This is especially important for those of you who have personal brands or those of you who are planning to build personal brands. And if you're planning to build one, I would suggest you start doing it right now. And before I even get into my points, I got three specific points I want to share with you. This is something that I've talked about a lot on my masterclass. It's called Work on Your Game. Comes out every day. By the way, Work on Your Game University is the place where you could take further steps with us. And I talked about how if you want to have authority, you must have an opinion. If you want to have authority, you must have an opinion. Authority is the root word of authority is author. What's an author? An author is a person who goes out and creates something. They publish something. They put something out there. If you're going to have authority, you got to stand on something. You got to speak on something. You can't just repeat what everybody else has already said, because if you're doing that, then what's your purpose? What purpose are you serving in the game? You're not serving any. And I remember someone telling me years ago, this business guy, he said, when I talk to people, I don't ask them their opinion of what I'm doing. I give them my opinion and let them take it with them. And whether they agree with it or not is not my responsibility. And that's the mentality that I want to talk to you all about here today. Because again, if you're going to build a personal brand, you must be willing to put your opinion out there and stand on that opinion, even if and when people do not necessarily agree with that opinion. Because for every person who disagrees, you get people who do agree. And if you're not willing to do that, then you're in a precarious position with a personal brand, because you probably won't be able to draw anyone close enough to you so that they're really bought in. It doesn't mean they can't like you, but are you going to be able to draw anyone in if you're not sharing any type of opinion? Again, and opinions by nature, some people are going to disagree with your opinion. The good thing about opinions is everybody has them, right? So let's get into these points. Before we do, introduce my self. Again, my name is Dre Baldwin. Many know me as Dre all day, former 9-year pro athlete, author of 35 books, done 4 TEDxTalks. I created this brand called Work on Your Game, where we extract the tools to help athletes get to the top of the sports world, and we apply those tools to the professional and business world. Our goal is here to help you perform at your highest level, do it consistently, and produce more results. And usually in business, that means making money. That's what we do here. So let's get into these points here today. Again, the topic is, if you do not have an opinion, you cannot build a personal brand. Number one, you got to be willing to take a stand. Now, this was not always the case, I'll tell you. For example, I've been publishing content online for almost 2 decades. I first put my first content out in 2005. I started blogging actually first in 2005. Now I started putting videos on YouTube that same year, and that was basketball stuff. And I wasn't really sharing my opinions on social topics. That it wasn't really a thing in 2007, 2008. People weren't so, what's the word? So opinionated, and their social media wasn't social media back then. So a lot of people had opinions. We all have always had opinions, even before we had social media. However, it became more of a thing for everybody sharing their opinion as the years have gone on. And a lot of the content I was putting out back then, let's say 2009, 2012, going into that time, 2013, 14, people didn't really care what your opinion was on any type of social issue. Even though they existed, it didn't matter if you as a brand was talking about it or you let people know where you were, because people didn't care. They weren't asking. Nowadays, in 2024, everybody wants to know. People want to know where you stand. They want to know, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? Even if that's not your brand or your topic, people are going to ask the question, and they want to know where you're at and how you feel about things. And what I tell people who have personal brands, you need to let people know where you're at, because some people are not going to like you because you're at a certain position. You feel a certain way about certain things. If you've been following my Instagram the last week or so, I've been starting to share some of the stuff that I usually only put on Twitter, also known as X, now known as X. I've taken the stuff that I've been saying over there for years and saying on my masterclass. I've been saying this stuff for years. None of this is new, by the way. So any of you who's looking at my Instagram posts and you see the stuff that I post, and you're like, well, Dre, why are you talking about this stuff now? I've been talking about this stuff for years. It's just that some of you only follow me on IG, so you didn't know. So that's when now some of you are just like, oh, well, you're surprised. Well, you can be surprised, but this is not new. Anyway, these days people want to know where you stand. They want to know where companies stand, even if you're a company. They want to know where McDonald's stands or where does Delta Airlines stand. If you're a company, they want to know where you're at, where does Starbucks stand. And if you're an individual person, because they can talk directly to you, they want to know, all right, where you're at. All right, where do you stand? What are you about? And what are you representing? And you got to be willing to do this, because the media, every topic of consequence, media, when I say media, I mean social media and general media, creates this divide. Are you on this side or are you on this side? Do you believe in this? Do you believe in that? Do you like this person? Do you like this person? You don't have to be accusatory. You don't have to be bombastic. You don't have to be, what's the word I'm looking for? You don't have to try to be combative, but people do want to know where you're at and why you believe what you believe. And this is why it's important. It's not just because people are going to ask this question. The reason why this is important, folks, is because if you want people to come in deeply into your world, into what you're offering, or forget about what you're offering or selling. They may eventually get there, but if you want people to just align with you and feel like, okay, this person gets me, this person sees things the way that I see them, understand that's not demographics that you need to connect with. You need to connect on a psychographic level. Y'all know what psychographics means? I'll explain it to you. So demographics are the things that you can measure about people. So demographics means, if I say, hey, my ideal audience, like when I was doing basketball, my ideal audience member was a 13 to 24-year-old male who played basketball and was aspiring to advance in basketball. That was on a high level. That was the demographic of what I was looking for. But actually, the last part wasn't demographic. The last part was psychographics. Psychographics is about the thought process of the people who you're connecting with. And this matters a ton in the world that we're in today. Any of you who runs ads, if you run ads on a platform like Facebook, they allow you to to target the people you're running ads to based on what? Psychographics, not just demographics. Demographics is, I want women between the ages of 25 and 30 who live in Texas and earn at least $100,000 a year. That's demographics. Psychographics is, I want a person who might be more liberal leaning and they're interested in sports and they like these other 10 influencers who I think their audiences are similar to my audiences. Psychographics is people who think a certain way. These are things that you can't quite measure, but you do want to try to target for these. And when you show people what you're about and you tell them where you stand and you tell them what your opinion is and why you have that opinion, now people can connect with you psychographically. And when people connect with you on the psychographic level, meaning they see things the same way that you see them, now they're on the same wavelength as you. This is how you build the know, like, and trust factors. But if you don't share your opinion and you're trying to play the middle, the problem with that is not that people can't like your stuff. People can like your stuff. But if you want people to have a deep connection with you to the point that they will always look to you for their next purchase, for their next step, or the next move that they're going to make, they got to connect with you on a psychographic level. They got to connect with you more on an emotional level, not just say, okay, I like the book, I like the course, I like the program that I took. They need more than that. Remember that your customers, your buyers, your clients, they are polygamous, meaning they will go buy other stuff from other people on the same subject on which you are talking. Question somebody asked, the psychographics override demographics? Absolutely. Every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Absolutely. If you connect with someone on a psychographic level, that is more important than connecting with them demographically, because you can be targeting people between 13 and 24, like I said when I was playing ball. And I might have somebody who's 30 years old who connects with me because they are still trying to play ball. They're not my direct target, but they were still looking to play ball, and what I was offering was very useful to them, and they liked my approach. They liked what I was saying. They liked the way I explained why I'm doing what I'm doing, not just what I do. See, psychography is about why you do things, not what you do. It is what's the why behind the things that you're doing. And when people know that why, they say, okay, this person thinks the way I think. They understand what I'm saying. Okay, they have a similar opinion to mine. So I'm going to connect more with this person because I know that they're thinking the way that I'm thinking, on top of the fact that what they're offering is useful for me. All right, so it's both of those. Yes, you still need to have value in what you're bringing to the table. So subjective opinions, folks, they matter more than facts these days. Subjective opinions matter more than facts when it comes to influencing and persuading people. All of you should know by this point, and if you're over the age of 25, you should understand that people are not, for the most part, not persuaded by factual information. Most people don't even care about factual information. They just care about a subjective opinion and who kind of shares mine or who can persuade or influence me with their opinion, not with factual information. Because if factual information was all that mattered, folks, you would see lines of people standing outside the library to go get books for free and get all the information in the world that's available to them. But you've never seen that before, have you? Exactly. But you've seen a line of people at the movies. You see a line of people at a concert. You see a line of people, you see a whole bunch of people on social media scrolling. You don't see a bunch of people standing in line and fighting and kicking down the door to get information, because people don't really care about information. What people care about is what connects with the way that they view the world. That's what matters. And when you're trying to appeal to everybody, you appeal to nobody. Always keep that in mind. When you try to appeal to everybody, you appeal to nobody. And there are a few exceptions to that, but the exceptions prove the rule. They do not disprove the rule. Point number 2, we're talking here today about if you want to build a personal brand, you want to have a strong brand, you must share your opinion. And here's the challenge with this. Because some of you are listening to this and they're like, Dre, it sounds good, and I do want to share my opinion. The problem is, if I start sharing my opinion, of course, some people in my audience are going to disagree with my opinion. All right, they're not going to like my opinion. They're not going to like that I think this. And there may be people in my audience who really like my stuff, and they bought the last book that I put out. And then as soon as I put out my opinion, they're like, well, I'm not buying from you ever again. I'm going to throw your book in the trash. I'm going to unfollow you. I hate you. I can't believe that you have that opinion. What am I supposed to do about that? You have a fear of this happening. Let me let you know, first of all, yes, this will happen. Okay, so you cannot avoid this. Also let you know, secondly, that this is actually what you want. This is called rejection marketing. We call it rejection marketing. So everybody heard of attraction marketing, right? Attraction marketing is, you still see this on social media these days, where somebody is standing in front of a nice house, or they're standing in front of the pool and the sun is hitting them at the perfect angle, or they stand in front of a couple cars, or they show you how they're on a flight and they're sitting in first class, or they're eating this nice meal at this expensive restaurant, or they show you off all their jewelry, or they tell you how much money they're making. All of those things are what? Showing you how successful and happy and abundant they are, and that is designed to draw you in and make you be attracted to them, because they have all these trappings of success, right? All you're familiar with that. You use social media. You see it all day, every day. Now, rejection marketing is when you share something that you know on purpose is going to make people not like you. That's rejection marketing. And again, you're not doing this because you're trying to make people not like you. You're doing it because you understand that when you put something out that you know is your audience may be divided on it. Some people are going to say, well, I don't like you anymore because you said that, and they're going to leave. Other people are going to say, I like you even more because you said that, and they're going to go deeper in with you, which is what you want. That's how you build a long-term audience, when people go deeper in with you, not when you try to play the middle and stay on the surface. See, people who are only surface level liking you, they will leave you just as quickly as they showed up. As soon as somebody else offers them something similar to what you're offering for half the price, there goes your customer. They're gone because they never bought into you. See, when they buy into you, it doesn't matter how much your stuff costs, because they are so much bought into you as a person that the price is no longer the number one deciding factor. Now, if they only like you on the surface because you're playing the middle and you're trying not to be controversial, they only like you on the surface. So let's do the report. Okay, so you have a product that costs $1,000 and your audience only likes you on the surface level, but they buy it, and then someone else comes out with a similar product that costs $500. Well, guess what? All those surface level customers, they're going to leave you because they didn't buy in because of you. They bought in because of your product. Someone else just offered them a product for half the price. What they need you for? They don't. And so if you want this concept we call it price elasticity. Price elasticity is when your price is no longer the number one factor. How many of you who are in sales will go for price to not be the number one factor for when people decide whether to buy from you or not? Of course, everybody wants that. To where the price is not the main reason. If any of you owns a luxury vehicle, price was not the number one factor. Because if the price was the number one factor, then there wouldn't be no BMW, there wouldn't be Lamborghini, there wouldn't be Mercedes-Benz, there wouldn't be Land Rover, there wouldn't be Cadillacs. None of these would exist. Everybody would be driving Kias and smart cars and Toyotas. But why do those cars exist? Because some people are not buying before just price. And you want your audience to be the exact same way. But you got to stand on something. If you're not willing to stand on anything, then again, you can never achieve this position. So rejection marketing is a good thing. I might do a whole live on this whole concept of rejection marketing one day, because I have that topic as well. And at the same time, you're going to be a personal brand. You're going to put yourself out there in the world that we live in today. Folks, you got to have some balls. You got to have some balls. And I'm talking to the ladies as well. When I say balls, I don't mean literally. I mean, you got to have some balls, meaning you got to be willing to stand on something and say it out loud and say it with your chest and be okay with the fact that not everybody's going to agree with you. If you don't have balls, you cannot build a personal brand in 2024. You got to be willing to tell people things that they need to hear, not just things that they want to hear. And if they don't want to hear it, that's fine. They can go somewhere else. They can go get what they want to hear from somebody else who will give it to them. They have plenty of options. All right, your clients and customers have a bunch of options, and you have a bunch of options. You don't need everybody in your audience, nor do you want everybody in your audience. And when you share your opinion, you will not have everybody in your audience, guaranteed. But you got to have some balls and be willing to stand on whatever it is that you're about. So the question is, what are you about? Do people even know what you're about? And when people know what you're about, they can make a decision to go deeper or to leave. But if you keep them on the surface, you will lose them just as easily as you got them as soon as somebody else comes in and undercuts you on price. Because that's the number one thing they think. They're considering price. They're not considering, well, somebody else offered a lower price, but I like this guy so much, I'm going to keep paying higher prices. I like this guy. They don't have that feeling about you, and as soon as someone comes with a better price, you're out of the game. They can just Walmart you out of the game, or they can Amazon you out of the game. How many of you buy something from, let's say, a local business or a person you know, who you know you could buy a similar product, very similar product on Amazon for cheaper, but you still buy it from the person who you know or the business that you like or the people who are in your neighborhood, the local business, excuse me. And you do that as a way of not only supporting them, but also because you have a relationship. Any of you have that situation? Some of you may be salespeople like that. All right, there are small businesses. The only reason they stay in business when Amazon out there trying to take everybody out of business is because there's a relationship between them and their customers. If you don't have that relationship, which is based on, again, people feeling psychographically aligned with you, then you will be put out of business as soon as somebody comes along with a better price. Point number 3, we are talking today about why, if you don't have an opinion, you do not have a personal brand. I'll answer all questions at the end. This is my last point. If you got questions, put in the comments. I'll address them in the end. I'm on 2 places, TikTok and also Instagram. Third thing, you cannot stand out in this world just based on bland and neutral information. That world is over. If all you're offering is information, period, any kind of information, for the most part, 99% of the known to man information is available virtually for free. And at the most, it might cost $20, the amount that you can pay for a book. But other than that, most information is relatively free. So you get information for cheap. So if all you're selling is information, you will be out of business within the next year and a half. AI software, Google, books, all the information is already out there. What do we need you for if all you have is information? You need something else. So what people want from you is how that you have digested and delivered the information. You can make sense of the information. Your insight, your approach to the information is what people want. So, for example, let's say somebody wanted to get in shape. All right, somebody wants to get in shape. They want to lose weight. They want to get a 6-pack. You want to get your body ready for the summertime. It's already summertime, but hopefully you want to get your body ready for the summertime. How do you do that? Well, you got to eat healthier food and move your body. That's pretty much how you get in shape. Everybody knows that, right? Is that news to anybody? Anybody wants to get in shape? Eat healthier food, watch what you're eating, and move your body more often. Burn more calories. All right, that is scientifically backed. You will lose weight and you will get in better shape if you just did that. So why are there 100,000 personal trainers out there in the world if everybody knows that? If everybody knows that, why are there 100,000 personal trainers in the world if we already know that? Because each one of them has their own style. They all have their own approach. They got their own whiz bang things, the way they design, or here's my program. My program is called this, and I got this 12-week program. I got this 8-week program. I got to eat this and not that. They have their different approaches to the information. It's not the information itself, because I just gave you all the information. All right, if everybody followed the information I just said, there would be no personal trainers in the world. You wouldn't need them. All you got to do is eat healthier and move your body, work out. But why do people get trainers? Because the trainer has an approach. The trainer has a personality. The trainer has a style that works for some people, and everybody has their own trainers. Now here in South Florida, there's trainers all over the place, and they all have different approaches for everybody. So all of you who have personal brands, let me remind you of something. You are not selling information. You might say you have an information product or you're in an information business, but that's not really what you're selling. You could call it that so we all understand it. That's not really what you're selling. You're not selling information. Everybody has information. The internet has more information than any of us will ever have. What you're selling is your style of delivering your knowledge and information. That's actually what you're selling. So if you don't have an opinion, you don't have a style. You don't have an opinion, you don't have a style. You're just out there. You're bland. You're like Google. You're like a web page on Google. You will fade into the wallpaper and you will be replaced, again, just as easily as you showed up. So with that said, let me recap these points. And we're talking here today, again, about you have no opinion, you have no personal brand. You want to have authority, folks, you must author something. The root word of authority is author. What is an author? Author is a person who creates. They write. They put themselves out there. You have to do the same thing if you want to have authority. Authority is about creating and putting something out there, not just regurgitating what already exists. Number one, take a stand. You want to have a personal brand, you must take a stand. What are you about? What are you willing to stand on? These days, many customers, many consumers want to know what a brand or a company or a person is about before they go deeper into that person's world. This matters to people these days. This is the world that we're living in. You can adjust or get left behind. Number two, when you do this, of course, some people are going to be disappointed and pushed away from you. That's completely fine. It's known as rejection marketing. It's okay if people are rejected by your opinions and your position, because every person that you reject, you're going to draw somebody else in. You don't want people on the surface level just liking you. Liking you is not good enough. If they just like you, they will leave you. Right, just as easily. You want people who are bought into you deeply, which creates price elasticity. Price is no longer the number one factor. And you can really build a long-term business because you have people who are bought into you as a person. They're not just bought in because you offer them a good price at the right time. Because again, somebody else can just beat you on price. And then you're in what we call a race to the bottom. You don't want to race to the bottom when it comes to price, right? Unless you're trying to be Walmart or Amazon. Most of us are not that. So you don't want to be in that game. So make sure you you remove yourself from that game by getting people to buy into who you are as a person and buying into what you're about and what you stand for, rather than just buying into you because you offer them a low price. Because again, how long can you sustain a business just by trying to beat people on price? Number three, you cannot stand out in this world based on bland and neutral information. Information has been democratized by AI software and Google and books. So if that's all you're offering, again, you are soon to be replaced if you haven't been replaced already. Your style, your approach, the way that you deliver is what people are getting from you, and your insights and everything else that comes with it, not just the information itself. Because again, if all people need is information, they can go to Google and they don't have to pay you anything. They don't even have to talk to anybody. Again, if you want to lose weight, all you got to do to lose weight is eat healthier and work out. Everybody knows that, right? All right, so why are there 100,000 personal trainers in the world? Because the style, the approach, the delivery of how to eat healthy and lose weight is what people are buying. It is not the basic information that you need to eat healthy and lose weight. Because again, if that's all everybody needed and everybody logically understood that, which everybody listening to this logically understands that, right? Okay, so why are there trainers? Everybody just follow the information, because information is not the key, folks. You need more than information. So with all that said, let me answer questions. You got a question or comment, put it in the comment section right now. I'm going to address it. Topic here today, again, is you have no opinion, that you have no personal brand. And all right, so TikTok did not restrict my live here today. So I don't know, maybe I didn't say anything controversial enough that they wouldn't restrict me. Maybe that's what it is. Let's see if there's a comment. Go ahead and put it in there. Somebody said, can I give a brief explanation of how persuasion works? Read the book called Influence by Robert Cialdini, and it'll give you a full explanation of how persuasion works. So persuasion is just moving someone to do something that maybe they otherwise wouldn't have done. That's what persuasion is. Look up the definition out of the dictionary. And so deepening your psychographic connect through rejection marketing with a few. Yeah, sometimes that's what happens. Okay, let's see. Anybody got a question or comment on IG? Go ahead and post it. I'm scrolling through the Instagram comments, and then we will be done here. Let's see. All right, nobody had a comment. All right, so that's that, everybody. Everybody have a great Monday. WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. You want to work with us directly, or just send me a DM, or just click the link in my bio. WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. Work on your game. We out of here.